ये पीने के का उसका वाटर क्वालिटी स्टैंडर्ड्स मेंटेन करते हैं, उसके
जी।
कुछ डूज एंड डोंट्स हैं। उसी तरीके से एक टेम्पररी फायदेमंद शौचालय की बात की गई है, जहां पर हम आसपास के इलाके को, ये बेसिकली यूरिन डाइवर्टिंग ड्राई टॉयलेट्स हैं, जिसका एक टेम्पररी स्ट्रक्चर होता है, और इसे खड़ा करने में इससे क्या होता है कि लोगों को इमीडिएट एक्सेस हो जाता है
जी।
शौचालय का। तो जहां तक एक बात तो सरकार कर रही है कि लोगों को बचा रही है, लेकिन केवल बचाना ही हमारा मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव नहीं है। हमारा
हम्म।
मुद्दा ये भी होना चाहिए कि आने वाले समय, क्योंकि जैसे मैंने पहले कहा कि ये
जी।
हमारा बाढ़ इस समय जो आई है वो 1 महीने पहले आ गई है, तो ये सितंबर तक कितने राउंड्स ऑफ फ्लड्स आएंगे हमारे यहाँ हमें पता
वो
नहीं
भी
है।
अपने आप में एक बड़ी चुनौती है। आप महत्वपूर्ण बात कर रहे हैं। एहसन प्रधान जी, आपको लगता है कि कोविड के चलते चुनौतियां और ज़्यादा बढ़ गई हैं एनडीआरएफ जैसी एजेंसीज के लिए कि लोगों को बचाना है, सुरक्षित रखना है और खुद को भी बचा के रखना है? उस तरीके से क्या खास प्रिकॉशंस बरत रहे हैं आप और आपकी पूरी टीम जो कि ग्राउंड पे काम कर रही है?
देखिए, इसकी तैयारी हम लोगों ने समय रहते कर ली थी, और शायद जो दो साइक्लोन्स आए, अम्फन साइक्लोन और निसर्ग साइक्लोन, इससे एक ड्राई रन या प्रैक्टिस रन भी हो गया कि हम लोग कोविड के समय में साइक्लोन को कैसे डील करें और कोविड के समय में फ्लड्स के साथ कैसे डील करें। तो ये तैयारी हम लोगों ने समय रहते शुरू कर दी थी, तो वो काम आई। मैं समझता हूँ कि हम लोगों के लिए ये दोहरी चुनौती है, डुअल डुअल चैलेंज तो है ही, लेकिन जो तैयारी की थी, जो एसओपीज हम लोगों ने नए सिरे से बनाए, और जिस तरह से ट्रेनिंग दिया, प्री ट्रेनिंग दिया फील्ड में भेजने से पहले सभी टीमों को,
जी।
तो वो मुझे लगता है कि काम आ रही है। और हम लोगों ने तैयारी में एक जरूर महत्वपूर्ण हिस्सा तैयारी का ये था कि जो नॉर्मल जो बाढ़ में जो कपड़े पहनते हैं रेस्क्यूअर्स हमारे एनडीआरएफ के,
जी।
वो शॉर्ट्स, बरमुडा और टी शर्ट पहन के चलते हैं, क्योंकि पानी में जाना है और जल्दी सूखने वाले ये कपड़े होते हैं। लेकिन अब उनको पहनने में रिस्क ये है कि पानी से भी इन्फेक्शन हो सकता है, और कोविड का इन्फेक्शन पसीने से और दूसरे फ्लूइड से हो सकता है, क्योंकि रेस्क्यूअर्स को रेस्क्यू करते हैं, लोगों को बचाते हैं, और ऐसे गांव में जाते हैं जहां बाढ़ भी है और कोविड भी हो सकता है।
जी।
तो उसके मद्देनजर हम लोगों ने एक अलग से सूट बनाया, अलग से सारे एहतियात बरते,
जी।
क्वारंटाइन जितने भी जो सैनिटाइजेशन के जो एहतियात बरतने हैं, हैंड वॉशिंग का हो या जो ग्लव्स पहनना हो, ये सारे एहतियात बरते, और एक
जी।
साथ ही साथ सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग का भी एहतियात बरतने के बारे में हम लोगों ने उनको ट्रेन किया।
बिल्कुल सर,
और आपको ये
आप जो बात कह रहे हैं सर, वो हम लोग तस्वीरों में भी दिखा रहे हैं किस प्रकार से एक तरीके से पीपीई किट स्पेशल तरीके की पहन के रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन दिया जा रहा है। अब वक्त लगभग खत्म हो रहा है। डॉक्टर धारीवाल, एक फाइनल कमेंट आपसे चाहेंगे कि अगर देश भर में कोई भी व्यक्ति इस वक्त बाढ़ से प्रभावित इलाकों में फंसा हुआ और आपको सुन रहा है, जल्दी से समराइज कर दें अगर आप संक्षेप में, कि आखिर उसको किन बातों का खास तौर से ध्यान रखना है अपने आप को बीमारियों से बचाने के लिए?
एक तो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है पानी इस टाइम और किसी जगह का ना लेकर के, और जो साफ पानी है और जहाँ साफ पानी नहीं है वहाँ क्लोरीन की टैबलेट जो है वो अपने पास रखें। दूसरी चीज, ओआरएस की बात अभी जो है वो डिस्कशन में रह गई, ये जो है वो व्यवस्था, और इसके लिए एक कम्युनिटाइजेशन की जो आशा वर्कर्स हैं हर गांव में उपलब्ध हैं, उनके पास ये सुविधा रहती है, वहाँ जो है वो ये हमने इंश्योर किया है।
जी।
और लोगों को यदि किसी भी तरह की दिक्कत हो तो तुरंत वहां जाकर के, इसी तरह से मलेरिया की जांच के लिए रैपिड डायग्नोस्टिक किट्स और उसकी दवाइयां भी वहीं उपलब्ध हैं,
जी।
कहीं जो है वो जाने की जरूरत नहीं है। आशा के संपर्क में रहना बहुत जरूरी है। और ये खाने पीने का भी, जैसे आपने बताया अपने उसमें, कि गर्म खाना खाना, रखा हुआ खाना ना जो है वो उस वक्त क्या होने, उसके लिए कई सोशल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन काम करती हैं, उनके लिए भी जो है वो आपके इस माध्यम से अपील रहेगी।
जी।
और ये जो है वो व्यवस्थाएं कुछ हो जाती हैं तो
जी।
स्वास्थ्य संबंधित जो समस्याएं होती हैं उसमें हमको खुद के भी योगदान से, क्योंकि अभी
जी।
सारे वर्कर्स कोविड के भी जो है वो उसमें लगे हैं, बिहार में समस्या बढ़ रही है, आसाम में भी कुछ केसेस बढ़ रहे
बिल्कुल
हैं,
सर।
तो स्वास्थ्य कर्मियों के लिए अभी ये ड्यूल चैलेंज है।
बिल्कुल एक दोहरी
और
चुनौती के तरीके से
उसमें
सर। फिलहाल वक्त खत्म हो रहा है, इतनी ही इजाज़त दे रहा है। आप तीनों ही मेहमानों को बहुत शुक्रिया। डॉक्टर धारीवाल आपका, एकलव्य प्रसाद जी आपका, एहसन प्रधान जी डीजी एनडीआरएफ सर आपका भी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। तीनों ही मेहमानों को बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। तो इस विशेष कार्यक्रम में बाढ़ राहत और बचाव में आज बस इतना ही, लेकिन डीडी न्यूज़ पर खबरों का सफर लगातार जारी रहेगा। नमस्कार।
सीमाएं नहीं हैं, पर युद्ध तो है। शत्रु नहीं समक्ष, पर प्रहरी तो है। दुश्मन है कि जो दिखता नहीं, पर इन आंखों से छिपता नहीं। एक अलग जज्बा है इनका, समय को रोक रखा है, काल को मोड़ रखा है। भूखे प्यासे कब से जागे, अपनों से दूर मन को बांधे। न धर्म की दीवारें हैं, न समाज के ताने हैं। लक्ष्य है, बस लक्ष्य है सेवा का, और ये रिश्ते अनजाने हैं। आंखें होती हैं नम, पर हौसले नहीं है कम। इनमें से कोई थकता नहीं, महसूस कर सकते हो बस। इनकी दास्तां कोई कहता नहीं। ये देश आपके निस्वार्थ सेवा भावना को नमन करता है।
Hello and welcome to this edition of Reporters Chat, where we learn of the latest ground realities. Today's focus, the flood situation in Assam and the Bihar. In particular, human trials of COVID vaccines started in AIIMS, Delhi, and the latest updates on the COVID-19 situation and also the political crisis in Rajasthan. We'll talk about PM's interaction also with IBM CEO too, which in fact is our top story. So, Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with IBM CEO Arvind Krishna. PM said India moving with the vision of self-sufficient India so that a globally competent and disruption resilient local supply chain can be developed. He also said that this is a great time to invest in India and the government is committed to ensuring that the technological shift towards work from home is smooth. He also said that India is moving towards development of an integrated tech and data driven healthcare system which is affordable and hassle free. And let's look at the key highlights what IBM CEO Arvind Krishna said. He said IBM CEO expresses his confidence in the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. IBM CEO briefs PM about the huge investment plans of IBM in India. Well, to give us more information on this, our correspondent Arun Sharma is joining us live. Arun, what were the highlights of the interaction apart from what we mentioned here?
That's right, Abhishek. The focus primarily was on two things. Number one, as to how can investment be attracted as far as service sector is concerned. And in that series, we have seen that earlier also Prime Minister Narendra Modi has interacted with various top global CEOs, which includes, Sundar Pichai of Google, and of course, today with the Arvind Krishna of IBM. Earlier also, we have seen that Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with Mr. Bill Gates, who is the founder of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So basic idea in all these meetings and interaction is that how can investment be attracted in a country like India. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi has clearly said that India is an attractive destination as far as investment is concerned. So it's a clear red carpet for foreign investor, number one. Number two is that India is looking for making local products which are global in nature and which are globally competitive in nature. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi's entire thrust was on showcasing India's strength towards earlier also we have seen that Prime Minister has talked about India's strength in front of various global CEOs. So today also Prime Minister highlighted that India is looking forward for an investment which gives a mega push to the Make in India initiative. So he clearly said that India is self-reliant. India is moving towards becoming a self-reliant country. So on the other side, it is also focusing on making globally competitive products. That's an important part. And the focus was also on health and education sector. Prime Minister Narendra Modi appreciated the CEO of IBM. He clearly said that how the partnership with CBSE And IBM is really noteworthy because now IBM and CBSE have partnered to provide artificial intelligence in 200 schools of our country. So this gives a mega push so that the school, as far as school learning is concerned, artificial intelligence will also be part of that thing. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also talked about Ayushman Bharat Yojana, which is a mega scheme of the government which provides health cover to 50 crore people of our country. So Mr. Arvind Krishna, who is known for artificial intelligence, cloud computing, Internet of Things, known for that thing. So he actually praised Prime Minister Narendra Modi's of Atmanirbhar Bharat, of Ayushman Bharat Yojana. So all in all, the idea is here to attract investment in, of course, now in the services sector. Earlier, we have seen that government has announced a 20 lakh crore of mega incentive for various sectors in our country, which includes primarily the MSME sector and the manufacturing sector. And now the focus is completely on the services sector as well.
Absolutely. PM also said that this is a great time to invest in India. But Arun, IBM CEO, he expressed confidence in the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Oh, that's right, because Atmanirbhar Bharat actually serves two purposes. It's a win-win situation for all, for the local people as well and for the foreign investors as well. On one side, the local units, the MSMEs, the innovators, the local innovators of our country, they do get a big platform with the government incentives and of course with government's mega package, what government is talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. So on the other side, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is ensuring that big investments can come in India. So when these big investments in form of Google, which has recently announced to invest close to 75,000 crore rupees in India, and now IBM. Now IBM is also saying that we are going to invest and we have mega plans as far as investment in India is concerned. So as of now, when we talk about IBM has close to 1 lakh employees working in India in close to 20 cities. So now IBM is also going on further expansion mode. So this also serves two purpose. On one side, the company like IBM gets a big data, the big manpower or economic infrastructure in country like India. So on the other side, IBM's technology, advanced technology primarily also nurtures the local talent as well. So the local talent of our country, the local innovator of our country do get big platform in form of Google, Facebook, IBM for that matter, Microsoft for that matter. So yes, it's a win-win situation for both, because on one side, the return on investment for these global companies like Facebook, Google, and of course IBM is very much high, and that's the reason why these global companies are very much interested to invest in India. So on the other side, the local talent of our country also get big platforms in the name of IBM, Google, and Facebook. And yes, they do get job opportunities, and they also get a platform so that they can innovate themselves, and the technology, primarily the advanced technology of these big companies do enrich the local innovators as well. So yes, local product for the globally competitive market, and yes, it's a win-win situation for both the foreign investors and for the local talent as well.
Absolutely, you are right on the point, Arun. And IBM CEO briefs PM about the huge investment plans of IBM in India also. Thank you, Arun. Thanks for your time. Well, moving on to our next story, AIIMS Director Dr. Randeep Guleria addressed media on the first phase of human trial of the vaccine. He said that the trial will be done on healthy people who do not have any comorbidity. The age group for the first phase will be 18 to 55 years. 375 people will be studied for the first phase.
Phase 1, it has to be done in healthy people between the age of 18 and 55 years. तो 18 साल से 55 साल की उम्र में जो हेल्दी हैं, जिनको कोई कोमॉर्बिडिटीज़ नहीं है, टोटल सैंपल जो इनिशियली है ट्रायल का सारे सेंटर्स को मिला के वो 1125 हेल्दी वॉलंटियर्स का है, जिसमें से 375 जो है वो फेज़ 1 में स्टडी किए जाएंगे. एम्स दिल्ली में 100 हेल्दी वॉलंटियर्स रिक्रूट किए जाएंगे.
And also, once the first phase is successful, the second phase will be conducted with 750 people aged between 12 to 65 years. They will also see and check for the severity of the dose during this phase. The third phase will be the largest group of volunteers. It will be to see how much immunity people received finally.
Phase 2 में जो है उसमें हम 750 लोग रिक्रूट करेंगे और इसकी एज लिमिट थोड़ी ज़्यादा है, 12 साल से लेके 65 तक. ये फेज़ 2 स्टडी है और इसमें वैक्सीन के 3 फॉर्मुलेशंस ट्राई किए जाएंगे. सार्स कोविड जो वैक्सीन है उसके 3 सब यूनिट्स ट्राई किए जाएंगे और पहले फेज में हम ये देखते हैं कि सेफ है और डोज रेंज देखते हैं कि कितना डोज देना चाहिए जिससे वैक्सीन की एफिकेसी होगी। तो ये फेज 1 ट्रायल पहले होगा, उसके बाद फेज 2 टू सी हाउ इम्यूनोजेनिक इट इज, दैट इज फॉलोड सब्सिक्वेंटली बाय फेज 3 जिसमें लार्जर पॉपुलेशन के साथ किया जाता है टू सी कि उसकी एफिकेसी और थेरेपेटिक बेनिफिट कितना दे रही है।
Right, and Dr. Guleria said that the doctors will be monitoring everything. Side effects monitoring will be done for 2 hours in the hospital and then up to 28 days in the first phase, and a follow-up will be done regularly for 3 months.
We find that it is safe, it is immunogenic, and we have no issues of side effects, and the report suggests that it is good. If that is there, then I think in the next 2 to 3 months we should be able to have a result. But remember, you have to follow up these patients. So even when you give the injection, to look for side effects, the follow-up is for 28 days. So even if we complete all our recruitment, let's say by the end of this month, then for another 28 days you will have to follow up the patients to really say the subjects to really say that now it has been safe, and then they will be followed up even subsequently, because we know that some vaccines can lead to side effects जो बाद में होते हैं.
And also during his press conference, Dr. Guleria said that he believes that some cities including Delhi might have reached their peak while some cities are yet to touch it. He also clarified that since the virus is new, there is still uncertainty about it. However, they are hopeful that the vaccine will provide immunity for 1 to 2 years.
The virus is only 6-7 months old. The vaccine, the virus is a new virus. So I think it's difficult to predict, but I am hopeful that the vaccine will give immunity at least for more than 1 to 2 years.
Dr. Guleria also expressed happiness over the development of an indigenous vaccine. He said that India has been a mass producer, but there was a lack in research and development.
Phase 1 human trials have started, and this is something which is very heartening because this is an indigenous vaccine. In India, we are very good in industry in terms of making molecules which are, but we don't do our R&D. So making a new vaccine is something which is of great achievement for India, that we are now into research and development in the pharmaceutical industry, making our own vaccine and being able to then mass produce it. We are very good in mass production. Isliye I feel that even if a vaccine comes from any part of the world, India will be involved in its production because 60% or more of the vaccines of the world are being made in India.
And before we go to our correspondent to know more to get more information on this, let's also know that Uttar Pradesh government has decided to allow home isolation for asymptomatic COVID-19 patients under certain conditions. The guidelines for the home isolation are being prepared and will be announced soon.
होम आइसोलेशन अभी तक अलाउ नहीं किया गया था, लेकिन कतिपय शर्तों के साथ इस पर विचार करने के लिए उन्होंने माननीय चिकित्सा शिक्षा मंत्री जी और माननीय स्वास्थ्य मंत्री जी को, दोनों उनके अपर मुख्य सचिव चिकित्सा एवं स्वास्थ्य व चिकित्सा शिक्षा के साथ एक कमेटी बनाई है। आज ही उस कमेटी की रिपोर्ट सबमिट की जा रही है और आज ही माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने कहा है कि इस पर निर्णय लेकर कल तक होम आइसोलेशन के संदर्भ में नवीन आदेश राज्य सरकार द्वारा दिए जाएंगे।
Right, to give us more information on this, our correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya is joining us live. Tapas, first phase of human trials have started, and Dr. Randeep Guleria also did a press conference too to give the updates. The recruitment process has started and they have already shortlisted. They have got 50 candidates.
Yes, 50 candidates is there, and once the first 50 candidates, the test result come out, they will expand their their testing from much more, many more people, and one expect that it will be the stage is something that Randeep Guleria said that it is basically a 3-stage trial, and this is just the first stage. The first stage is basically what they are trying to see if the vaccines is worked on people, on those subjects, as he rightly pointed out, those who are healthy and do not show any comorbidity. And so if that is the case, they will see then that how do they react. And in the first stage also, there are 3 kinds of vaccination that is done. So the amount of vaccine that will be given to the subject will vary in three manner. First 30, then 60, and then again with the adjuvant, providing that adjuvant medicine to the vaccine to see how they react to those vaccines. So keeping those things in mind, this is a huge step for a country like India, which is known to produce bulk of the world's, not just India's, but bulk of world's vaccine. Almost more than 60% of world vaccine comes from India. But when it comes to R&D, we tend to lag behind. But this COVID pandemic has shown that Indian scientists, Indian researchers are not lagging behind in any way. And this Covaxin has the potential to change all that theory that India may not be India do not lag behind in R&D. Also, the thing that that Randeep Guleria spoke about is the fact that maybe in Southeast Asia, he said the fact that in Southeast Asia there's a study that is going on in Singapore, and as for that study, people in Southeast Asia in fact have a T immunity. So if you so the kind of immunity that people have there because of past strains of coronaviruses, the people in Southeast Asia have been facing. So keeping those things in mind, they probably the fatality rate is much lower in Southeast Asia rather than in Europe. So that is another important part that he spoke about. And the most important part that he said is that the manner in which all the government agencies have come together and cut the red tape is, and remember, for a vaccine to develop in a manner, in a normal manner, it would take a long gestation period. But to cut down the red tapeism, they made sure that no undue red tapeism is there.
Right,
the only thing that they are worried about, they are very concerned, and that the red tapeism does not stop the initial.
Right, Tapas. Right. Hold your thoughts. Yeah, hold your thoughts. Tapas, will come back to you. Ashutosh Shukla is joining us live from Lucknow. Ashutosh, we talk about, PM also talked about to follow Delhi model, and now big decision by the Uttar Pradesh government. They have decided to allow home isolation for asymptomatic COVID-19 patients.
बिल्कुल, जिस तरीके से उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार जो है, ये उत्तर प्रदेश की 22 करोड़ की आबादी है, एक बड़ा क्षेत्र है, बड़ी जनसंख्या है, अनेक सारी सरकार की व्यवस्थाएं हैं, बावजूद इसके जो है किसी भी संक्रमण के अतिशय वृद्धि की स्थिति में क्या कुछ किया जा सकता है, सरकार इस पर लगातार विचार कर रही है। और ख़ास तौर पर उस वक्त पर जब कि अनेक ऐसे पेशेंट हैं जो कि अपनी बीमारी को छुपाते हैं, वो घरों में ही अपना इलाज चाहते हैं। इसको लेकर के आज मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ ने टीम 11 की अपनी कोविड-19 को लेकर के जो उनकी टीम है, टास्क फोर्स है, उसको लेकर के बैठक की थी और इस बात पर विचार करने के लिए कि जो एसिम्प्टोमेटिक हैं, जिन पर जो है संक्रमण का अधिक असर नहीं है, उनको किस तरह से होम क्वारंटाइन, कौन सी गाइडलाइन होनी चाहिए, इसके लिए जो है एक समिति का गठन किया था। उस समिति को आज ही देर शाम तक रिपोर्ट देना है और हो सकता है कि देर शाम या देर रात या कल सुबह तक जो है उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार की गाइडलाइनों के साथ जो है होम क्वारंटाइन होने के लिए, होम आइसोलेशन के लिए जो है वो गाइडलाइन सामने आ जाए। उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार का पूरा प्रयास है कि जिन भी क्षेत्रों में ये संक्रमण की दर अधिक है, उन क्षेत्रों में ही उस संक्रमण को रोका जाए। ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में जहां संक्रमण की दर कम है, वहां पर इसे पहुंचने से रोका जाए, लोगों को अधिक से अधिक जागरूक किया जाए और इसके साथ ही जागरूकता के साथ ही जो इसकी प्राथमिक सुविधाएं हैं, जो प्रिकॉशनरी मेजर्स हैं, उनको लेने के लिए जो है जिला प्रशासन और इसके साथ ही जो लोकल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है, उनको सबको जो है अवेयर किया जाए, उनको पूरी तरह से जानकारी दी जाए। इसको लेकर के भी कैंपेन चलाने को लेकर के मुख्यमंत्री का विशेष जोर रहा है। और साथ में सबसे बड़ी बात जो है कि होम क्वारंटाइन होकर के उनको इलाज की सुविधा मिलती रहे, वो सरकार की देखरेख में भी रहें और अपने घर में भी रहें। इसमें संक्रमण की दर उत्तर प्रदेश में अधिक हो सकती है, लेकिन जो है इसमें जोखिम का दर कम है। इसको लेकर के सरकार जो है पूरी तरह से हर स्तर पर विचार कर रही है। जी अभिषेक।
Absolutely big step taken by the Uttar Pradesh government. बहुत शुक्रिया आशुतोष हमसे बातचीत करने के लिए। तापस, thank you so much for talking to us and giving us your inputs. Moving on to our next story, a two-judge bench of Rajasthan High Court on Monday resumed hearing on petitions filed by former Rajasthan Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot and 18 other dissident Congress MLAs challenging their disqualification notices from the State Assembly Speaker. On behalf of the Speaker, Abhishek Manu Singhvi made his arguments today, and he said that the notice issued to the 19 MLAs, including Sachin Pilot, by the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly was the privilege of the Speaker. On behalf of the Speaker, Abhishek Manu Singhvi made his arguments, and he said that the notice issued to the 19 MLAs, including Sachin Pilot, by the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly was the privilege of the Speaker. And Abhishek Manu Singhvi argued in the Rajasthan High Court that rebel Sachin Pilot and other rebel MLAs cannot go to court against disqualification notices before the Speaker takes a call on them. Singhvi, representing Rajasthan Speaker C.P. Joshi, also challenged the rebels' argument that skipping 2 meetings did not mean they were quitting the party. Also, Harish Salve, appearing for Sachin Pilot, said that the demand of Sachin Pilot and fellow legislators was only to change the Chief Minister. His intention is not to topple the government. Well, to give us more information on this, Vishal Beristo, our correspondent, is joining us live. Vishal, good evening. Hearing continued on the third day too. Give us the updates on the hearing.
Well, a very good evening to you, Abhishek. Yes, the hearing continues, and I believe that the judgment would only be expected tomorrow, because the hearing would also continue tomorrow. But it's an interesting statement coming from Harish Salve when he says that the intention was not to topple the government but to change the Chief Minister. Now, Sachin Pilot camp changing tactics, because earlier they were saying that they might form a separate party, and now they're saying that they don't want to topple the government but only to change the Chief Minister. So a kind of tactical pressure on the Congress High Command that if they change Ashok Gehlot, then there might be a solution, there might be a compromise between the two warring parties. So it's an interesting statement, but let me tell you that today Ashok Gehlot was very vocal against Sachin Pilot, and this was the third and the most aggressive attack on Sachin Pilot, in which he said that Sachin Pilot did not deserve to be the PCC chief, and he was telling his supporters that I am not here, and I quote what Ashok Gehlot said about Sachin Pilot, that Sachin Pilot has been saying such things that मैं यहाँ बैंगन बेचने, सब्जी बेचने नहीं आया हूँ, मैं यहाँ मुख्यमंत्री बनने आया हूँ. So Ashok Gehlot said it very categorically, quote unquote, that Sachin Pilot is quite ambitious, but you should not be that ambitious, and the ambitious should not be over or beyond the interest of the party. And reacting to the Ashok Gehlot statements and attack, Sachin Pilot has called it vexatious and unfortunate, which clearly means that Sachin Pilot is in no mood to counter-attack Ashok Gehlot. But it appears that over the days, it's been a 11-day-long battle between Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot. It seems that Ashok Gehlot is gaining some ground, and he's getting more and more aggressive against Sachin Pilot, who is also his rival in Rajasthan Congress.
Absolutely, Vishal, and also Sachin Pilot making the statement that saddened but not surprised by the accusations of bribing MLAs. Also, he denied the charges. Thank you, Vishal. Thanks for your time. Moving on to our next story. In Bihar, flood situation has further deteriorated following incessant rains since last night. Catchment areas of Bagmati, Ganga, Gandak, Burhi, Gandak and their tributaries received moderate to heavy rains during the past 24 hours. Due to this, the water level of these rivers has again started to rise in several districts. The situation is grim in Darbhanga, Sitamarhi, Muzaffarpur, Champaran and adjoining areas. Flood has affected a population of over 3 lakhs in about 153 villages in 50 subdivisions spread over 8 districts of the state. Meanwhile, many city localities including capital in Patna submerged in rainwater due to intermittent but heavy rains. Met Office has predicted moderate to heavy rainfall in Siwan, Saran, Sitamarhi, Vaishali, Patna, Darbhanga and Muzaffarpur. And talking about Assam now, the flood scenario in Assam remains somewhat unchanged, although water level receded further in some rivers of Assam in the past 24 hours. 5 more people have lost their lives in the last 24 hours, which has increased the death toll to 84. With 26 deaths due to landslide this year, the deaths due to floods and landslides total 210 this season so far. As on date, 2,400 villages under 70 revenue circles in 24 districts are reeling under flood water. Worst affected districts are Golpara, Barpeta, Morigaon and Dubri. Rivers at various places of at least 8 districts are above danger mark, and more than 1,12,000 hectares of cropland are submerged. There are 301 relief camps are operating across the state, sheltering about 50,000 people. State Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal said people of our state continue to fight both COVID and floods. He assured that the central and the state government is providing all kinds of assistance to the people. While our correspondent Kamal Bora is joining us live from Guwahati. Kamal, what is the current situation in Assam? And the flood scenario in Assam remains unchanged, although water level receded further in some rivers of Assam in the past 24 hours.
Yes, Abhishek, as per the latest flood report I have received just 10 minutes before, and as per that report, last 24 hours was not that much contributing as far as improvement of the flood scenario is concerned. Just a little number of flood affected people has reduced only, but total number of affected people is still above 24 lakh at this moment. And we have seen that it's raining from yesterday itself, and today also it's raining. I think you can feel it through my camera that it's raining. And if we connect this raining situation with the slightest improvement in the scenario in the last 24 hours, somewhere we can conclude that the improvement we have observed in the last 2 to 3 days has come to a halt, and due to this rain, and situation may turn into a grim at any point of time. So the total improvement, definitely we have to say that it will take a long time. And as far as the rescue and search operations are concerned, it's going on in full swing. And today also one person has died due to this flood, which is a matter of worry right now. And total flood-induced fatality has reached up to 85. So every day people are drowning, and though we have seen water level is receding in most of the parts in the state, but people are dying almost every day. So it's a matter of worry at this moment.
Absolutely, Kamal. Tough times for Assam. They have to fight both COVID and floods too. Thank you, Kamal. Thanks for the time. Well, that's all we have in Reporters Chat Live. Stay tuned for more news and updates. Namaskar.
कोरोना महामारी के इस दौर में जब लोगों ने नहीं छोड़ी हिम्मत, दिखाया कुछ कर गुजरने का हौसला, बड़ी से बड़ी मुश्किल को बनाया आसान, ऐसे ही हौसले और जज्बे की कहानियां जो बन रही हैं प्रेरणा, बढ़ा रही हैं आत्मविश्वास। आप देख रहे हैं गुड न्यूज जज्बा इंडिया का।
हमारी आज की तेजस्विनी एक ऐसी महिला है जिन्होंने पुरुष प्रधान माने जाने वाले क्षेत्र में न केवल कदम रखा, बल्कि अपनी क्षमता की धमक भी दर्ज करा। एक व्यवसायी के तौर पर क्या महिला या पुरुष होना कोई मायने रखता है?
जो महिलाएं अगर आगे बढ़ना चाहती है तो उन्होंने अपना खुद का जो स्ट्रेंथ है उसे बढ़ाना चाहिए, ना कि हमारी जो वीकनेसेस है उसके ऊपर फोकस करना चाहिए।
आप खुद अपने आप को किस तरह देखती हैं?
व्हाटएवर आई डू मैं फुल कमिटमेंट के तौर पे देखती हूँ, चाहे वो प्रोफेशनल लाइफ हो, चाहे वो पर्सनल लाइफ हो, चाहे वो फैमिली मैटर्स हो, चाहे माय ओन पर्सनल हेल्थ हो, पूरा कमिटमेंट लेके मैं चलती हूँ।
हिंदुस्तान एक ऐसा मुल्क है, अनेक प्रकार के लोग रहते हैं, बहुत से अलग अलग मजहब है, अलग अलग जाति है और अलग अलग हमारा पोशाक है, अलग अलग हमारी जबान है। ऐसा कोई मुल्क दुनिया में नहीं है